Miami is everything wrong with society. Me personally, bro, I'd never live in Miami, and I would never live in LA. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I mean, every place has its bad things, right? Let's be real. You know what I'm saying? But let's see what's going on with Miami, bro. GTA 6. I mean, GTA 6 is inspired by Miami, Florida.
Miami, the Magic
Vice City.
City, is a modern American dystopia. It
Okay.
is a city which perfectly parodies America as a whole. It's where the country's billionaires have decided to live next door to each other. Jeff Bezos bought this $100 million home on Indian Creek
Weirdo.
Island, then bought his neighbor's mansion right next door. This
Weirdo.
ultra-exclusive billionaire bunker contains a 300-acre man-made island
God damn.
with its own private golf course that looks like something straight from Dubai. Across the street is Mark Zuckerberg's residence. Then you have Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump owning property there.
Oh my fucking god, this is fucking
Howard
disgusting.
Schultz, Sergey Brin, and Larry Page.
Ew!
You might bump into Peter Thiel down at the local
Ew!
where you can just casually go past one of his many houses.
Indian Creek in Miami is called Billionaire Bunker.
Big businesses are moving here from
So they're all in the same area,
all
huh?
over the world. The financial center is packed with companies like Citadel, Nvidia, Uber, Microsoft, and Palantir, which even
I bet you all these fucking people, they all meet each other in a room. What the fuck is going on? Why is my TV on? Who's trying to connect to my TV?
recently moved its HQ to Miami. This is what the Miami Beach mayor has to say about the city's meteoric rise.
This is going to be the next finance hub of America.
Forget New York and LA, Miami has become the city everyone aspires to break into, spawning a whole new generation of OnlyFans girls, crypto bros, and anyone else clinging to the idea of who they want to be. On the surface, the city works. We visited, and the first version we found is the side you see on TikTok. Huge
Okay.
modern mansions, yachts, and massive boats parked outside in the harbor. You could even see Indian Creek from a distance, but could never get near it. There are patrol boats everywhere and a fortified gated entrance. But we also
All these billionaires, they're holding all this fucking wealth. Just
found a
saying.
completely
And they got security and shit.
different side to Miami that isn't in the reels and podcasts, but not in the obvious way like Las Vegas or Los Angeles. Miami sells itself as the real deal, with real money, real businesses, and a real vision of the future. And for a moment, you're convinced. The whole city is essentially a stage set arranged to look like a paradise. Drained, filled
Right.
in, paved over, planted and replanted. All by a series of developers over the years, all of whom saw immense potential in a humid, mosquito-infested strip of swamp that nobody wanted to live in. The palm trees that line every boulevard aren't native to South Florida.
Right.
The majestic royal palms were imported from Cuba. The coconut
Okay,
palms
yeah.
came from the South Pacific by way of the Caribbean. Even the sand on Miami Beach itself gets trucked in every few hours because the real beach keeps washing away. So this is a place built on appearances, so it's not really a surprise then that it's the global capital of an economy that runs on them. Take this guy we met in Brickell, wearing camera sunglasses and making content by hitting on girls.
Meta glasses.
I just go around hitting on girls with
Oh, he's one of them. Oh my god. Ew.
bro. Pretty much it.
Ew.
Glasses.
Ew.
Flick it, record. Been doing
Ew.
it for a while now, like 2 years now.
Ew. Disgusting. Ew. Ew.
I was on TikTok
Ew.
one day scrolling and I saw this guy doing it.
Ah,
Yo, you know
nah.
what? I could do that too. So I just bought him one day, bro. I remember I uploaded one video and then boom, my
Ew.
life changed forever.
He told us that Miami is his best market.
Best videos I've ever made was out here. Dude, I think I saw one girl, dude. Oh my god.
Out here?
Or right there by that like little trailer. It was fake, obviously.
Yeah, right.
Dude, her ass was huge. I was like, yo, like, I walked up to her. I'm not gonna lie. Like, yo, like, your ass is humongous.
What the fuck am I listening to? Ew.
And I think, yeah, dude, I think she won the award for the biggest ass.
That is hardly surprising because Miami is ground zero for the looks maxing movement. It was
Oh, yep. Even more fucking disgusting. Ew. 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 Yo, Miami, bruh. I'm good off Miami,
why
bro.
Louis Theroux spent most of his time there filming his latest documentary, Inside the Manosphere. There's also people like Dr. Miami, the city's most famous plastic surgeon, who built a massive platform live streaming Brazilian butt lifts from his clinic in a city that's become the BBL capital of the world.
On average, how many BBLs do you think you're doing?
A lot. like in a day or
Oh no, and it's not a factory. It's not like 15 a day. I would say
It's a fucking factory.
2.
See a line of women, ass naked, laying face down, and he's just like changing car parts and shit, bro.
1 or 2 a day.
how many bets are out there in the world?
Of
care of
Dr. Miami,
Yeah.
thousands,
Yeah.
thousands and thousands. Yeah, I've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
Aside from all the BBLs, when you're out in Miami at night, you notice
Hey, get your bag, bro.
another huge part of its identity, the clubs.
Right.
Miami nightlife isn't really a scene so much as the gravitational center the rest of the city orbits around. Most
What the fuck?
of the people you see at the airport end up at one of the club tables within the first weekend in town. We spoke to Sneeko, who resides in both Miami and New York, seeing how life really is in the center of Miami in Brickell, and why everyone seems to be moving here.
Well, right now I have a gun on me. I can't do that in New York. Like everywhere I go, I'm strapped. The taxes are better, and
Okay.
there's more. Everyone says that this is a new LA. It's just like there's a lot of motion here right now. You want to be where the action is if you're trying to grow.
But he also made the same observation everyone makes about Miami. You need a very deep wallet if you want to actively get involved in everything it has to offer.
Most
Right.
of the people in Brickell that live here are millionaires, or at least like close in terms of assets and in business. Yeah, I was in most of these people are millionaires.
If you ever aspire to be like Sneeko, bruh, please just give up in life.
And
And GTA, I'm just kidding.
when we were kids, being a millionaire sounded
kidding. I'm
insane,
kidding.
right? But now it's just like pretty much almost everybody that I talk to around here that you see has $1 million, and it's crazy how normal it's become. I think 100K a month is was a benchmark.
When you talk to those running the nightlife, they tell you more about who's fueling the city's image. This is Nate, one of the top promoters in the city. He also moved to Miami from New York, and he's the go-to guy for crypto millionaires and hedge fund kids who spend 6 figures a night just to sit at the best table. He estimates Miami contains, in his words,
In Miami, you have the smallest but largest concentration of wealth anywhere in the country, and most of it's new money. So new money doesn't act the same way as old money. Old money had to work their ass off to get to where they are. They had to do all sorts of things over years and years and years, generations to get to where they are.
and he puts his finger on the exact culture Miami has built and how it benefits promoters like himself.
New money, they pretty much snapped their fingers and money appeared. It could be the course sellers, it could be the crypto guys who pumped a meme coin, it could be
Scammers.
guys who started OnlyFans management companies.
The whole nightlife economy is driven by a ritual that Nate calls the parade. At a certain point in the night, there's a moment of suspense before the bottle girls march out from the back with sparklers and giant champagne magnums while the entire club is forced to stop and stare at whichever table is doing the spending.
There's certain parades that only certain people who are
Just a city for the extremely wealthy,
big
bruh.
spenders of the club can get. So then when I
The rich and wealthy, my bad. Not the extremely wealthy. The rich and wealthy.
have
My
girls
bad.
out and I have a guy who's got like that $100,000 tab and he gets the 7K, I forget what the package is called, but he gets the 7K parade. Higher club gets shut down. Literally all eyes are on them. They shine all the lights on the thing.
The biggest single table he's ever seen hit $200,000 in a night, and the
Damn.
people spending it were a group of crypto kids who got lucky on a meme coin a week earlier.
Those crypto
Okay.
kids have no concept of money. Most of those guys, what they did was they bet on Fart Coin before Fart Coin went crazy, and they became, in literally a matter of like 5 days, became 100 millionaires.
That is the definition of new money.
That's crazy.
Making generational wealth from a fart coin because you were right on the Discord or Telegram server at the time. Nate
Right.
also completely agrees with Sneeko's benchmark.
So if you don't have money like that, where $10,000 is gonna put a dent in your account, don't come to Miami. It's not worth it.
But the whole point is how this place has positioned
Okay.
itself to be
At least keeping it real.
aspirational, whereas Sneeko and so many others
That's the thing, though. Even when I get to a point where I do make good money, I wouldn't want to live in Miami. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't think that whole nightclub city nightlife is really worth
told
it.
us the new Los Angeles, or at least Los Angeles before that facade broke down and aspiring entertainers ended up on Skid Row. Miami
Yeah.
doesn't have a Skid Row yet, but there's an army of younger people trying to fake it until they make it by renting
Right.
supercars, running up debts, and pushing their lives into dangerous territory. And it's the same culture that's turned Miami into the OnlyFans capital of the world.
That's
for both
crazy.
The creators and the subscribers. You see, Miami has more registered OnlyFans creators per capita than any
What
other
the
large
fuck?
American city, with roughly 1,110 accounts per 100,000 residents.
Damn.
Compared to around 617
That's like 10%. That's like a little over 10%.
in Las Vegas in second place.
Wait, I'm sorry. Am I retarded? Hold on, my bad. That's like, okay, that's it's 10%. It's fucking crazy. What the fuck is wrong with me?
Miami has earned a
Nigga said 10%.
title, and it is quite the scandalous one. The Magic City has been crowned the OnlyFans capital of the country.
Well, a new study found that most models on OnlyFans are right here in Miami.
Miami is also in the global top 5 for total money spent on the platform, with roughly $17 million flowing out of Miami subscriber accounts in 2025 alone. Sophie Rain is based in Miami. Blac Chyna started her career as a stripper in Miami before transitioning onto the platform. Even people like Mia Khalifa got their career starts here. The Bop House is a mansion in Miami where OnlyFans
The Bop House is fucking insane.
creators live together, producing
Nah.
content around the clock. They later upgraded to a 100
The Bop House is
$1,000
crazy.
a month penthouse in Brickell dubbed the Gen Z Playboy Mansion. Well, this OnlyFans creator thinks it has a lot to do with the city's aesthetic.
So I think with the people in Miami already working in music videos, already working in commercials, in bikini shoots, and all these things that show off skin, I think it's not really hard to just go from one thing to another.
Sneako's friend Sonny Faz explained how this modern sex industry looks completely different from a few years ago.
Over 70% of the money is made through the chatting. Like, it's not through the $5 subscription like most people think. It's through
Okay.
guys trying to build an emotional relationship with the chick.
Gang, what is wrong with our society? What the fuck is y'all doing, bruh? Y'all are grown ass man, bruh. Just go on the hub, bruh. That shit's free. It's free.
And, like, literally, they think they're talking to it, and they're not. They're never talking to her.
Behind every successful girl
It's
on the
AI.
platform, there are so often powerful unseen men taking a cut of the profits.
Some of the biggest people, like, they'll start dating a girl, and then it'll just be bikini pictures, and then they're now having steak free. Like, that's stuff.
This is what we found when we made our last video on OnlyFans. Sophie Rain claims to have grossed over $100 million on the platform.
That's
Yet
crazy.
She didn't post explicit content for most of her career. One
That's actually crazy, bruh. All she showed was the toes, and niggas is fiending.
single subscriber, a man called Charlie, who she says has a wife and kids, has paid her around $7 million, mostly for messages.
Shout out to Charlie.
Shout out to Charlie.
But obviously, not everyone is a part of the super rich class and can afford to pay Miami's huge bills. In
Right.
fact, almost everyone is in debt. Florida has one of the highest household to debt income ratios in
Oh
the
yeah,
country.
for sure.
Auto loan defaults across South Florida have been climbing for years, especially on all the high-end leases you see, so the Lamborghinis, the G-Wagons, the Range Rovers dotted around the streets. Even the wealthier residents are spending so far above what they bring in, that they're
Damn.
effectively living one bad quarter away from the same edge as everyone else. Miami is what
Right.
lifestyle
Fuck. Damn, bruh.
Dumb.
That really shows you the state of this economy, though, too. Like the fact that even if you make good money, the minute you put yourself in debt, you're fucked, bruh.
inflation
Like-
looks like its scale, and it's a warning sign of what's to come elsewhere. A city where the baseline has been skyrocketed unrealistically high to meet an unrealistic environment with unrealistic costs that can't be sustained. The
Right.
gap gets papered over with credit, trust funds, and crypto bets. You live fast and run out of money young and hope to get a lucky break just before you plunge off the precipice. You start noticing that everyone's flocking here for the opportunities, staying
Right.
for the
Just like LA.
lifestyle, and somewhere
Just like
along the
LA.
way, the line between the two disappears. Blurring the lines has been the city's strong suit since the start. Go back to the late 70s and the Colombian cartels needed somewhere to put billions of dollars a year in physical cash. So Miami banks were eager to help. By the early 80s, the local Federal Reserve branch was sitting on a bigger cash surplus than any other branch in the country combined.
Okay.
Because there was so much drug money flowing through the system. That last prediction is as valid now as it was then, as money was cleaned up and poured into the condos and hotels, which formed the first generation of the skyline you see today. And it never really stopped. After the 2008 financial crisis, anonymous shell companies were buying Miami homes for over $100 million a week, mostly in cash with no names attached. When the Treasury finally stepped in and forced these companies to reveal who was behind them, the anonymous buying mysteriously dropped by 70% overnight. A lot of that was foreign money, South American oil executives laundering stolen
Oil executives? Are you fucking dead ass right now? Why am I not surprised?
cash, wealthy elites fleeing collapsing economies, crime families parking capital offshore, or Russians swerving sanctions and relocating from Europe or Dubai. Last year, a 74-year-old Miami realtor
These billionaires, they go in there, they destroy the economy, they take all the money, they could steal as much wealth as they can, and they dip to another place, bro.
pleaded guilty to selling and laundering luxury condos in
And the government does fucking nothing.
the Bal Harbour and Aventura districts on behalf of two sanctioned Russian oligarchs. Miami's realtors and developers are often in the news for fraud and financial crime, with fraud felony rates amongst the highest in the US.
Police say Priscilla Marie Contreras, Yordani Carrias Diaz, and Dinocer Bravo are pretending to be realtors and homeowners.
Back, two men are behind bars tonight. They're accused of running what the Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office calls a sophisticated scheme defrauding a Miami Beach condo, its owners, and board members.
Long before the drug years, Miami was where the rich from North America went to lose money on land. In the 1920s, a real estate bubble inflated by speculative developers selling underwater swampland to retirees collapsed so spectacularly that the entire state economy went into recession years before the rest of America followed into the Great Depression. Carl Fisher, the man who built Miami Beach, sold lots that didn't exist to investors who never visited. So the entire Florida land boom that followed was structurally a Ponzi scheme. And that reputation followed Miami until now. The savings and loan scandals in the 1980s, mostly in South Florida. The practice of aggressively selling worthless stocks to vulnerable people, also South Florida. The mortgage fraud of the 2000s.
Okay, so Florida's basically full of fucking scammers. That's what it is. Florida's full of scammers. Dead ass.
Good portion in Miami and Florida. And then, of course, Miami made itself the natural home for
Hold on, go
crypto
back.
NFT in Miami.
Dom Rebuffo, 78 of Miami. Damn.
And Florida. And then, of course, Miami made itself the natural home for crypto, NFTs, meme coins.
Right where all the Silicon Valley billionaires live at too. And that's so crazy. Just how ironic how that all connects. Like, you know, it's where all the billionaires live, you know what I'm saying? All the Silicon Valley billionaires.
And whatever else, because the people pushing them knew the local culture would eat it all up. Several of the most notorious illegal ICOs and crypto investment schemes have traced back to Miami. It's the same story in the city's biggest new luxury development. This was supposed to be the most luxurious apartment complex ever built, a 66-story tower called the Aston Martin Residences. Yes, that's an
That should look ugly.
apartment block branded by the British car maker. It's a $1 billion project and the tallest all-residential tower on the East Coast. It was sold as coming with a private marina, a helipad, exclusive beach club
What the
access.
fuck?
It all works for Miami's new money class. The top penthouse alone sold for $59 million.
Oh
By
my
the time
God.
the building opened in 2024, it was already 99% pre-sold. And of course, the
Damn.
promotional materials looked spectacular. But not long down the line, it became a gluttonous monument to Miami's fakeness. The issues with it are nearly endless. The helipad was never built. The beach club access hasn't come to fruition. The building, according to a lawsuit, is literally falling apart. Concrete
Damn.
is falling off of the balconies and dropping onto the streets below. Then there's the steel reinforcement itself.
Just blow that shit down, bruh.
And even the absolute basics like functioning elevators.
Now at 6, developers of downtown Miami's Aston Martin residences face their second lawsuit in 4 months. Residents say they see concrete balconies crumbling, their seawall corroding, and claim it will cost millions to fix it. They blame the builder.
Basically, it's just turned out to be terrible, which
Right.
is even more painful if you invested millions into the building.
Right, you lost all that money. Oh, poor wealthy class. Oh no.
And this isn't just a case of negligence, it's all allegedly wrapped up in a sophisticated scam, or what the lawsuit calls an immense shell game, using a network of companies to siphon millions out of the building's finances. This is what happens when something's image falls completely out of sync with the substance underneath it. This has happened with almost every object that surrounds us. A banana isn't a banana, not really, it's just a copy of a banana that you've never even seen, felt or understood at all. Today, a photograph is rarely by definition a photograph, but rather a manipulated image that exists in near infinite degrees of authenticity. If you live
Right.
somewhere like Miami, your life doesn't resemble the life of any of your ancestors. The substance and purpose behind it were copied into oblivion and literally don't exist anymore. Miami shows you what happens when an entire place becomes disconnected from reality.
Right.
It starts with a real genuine thing, in this case a muddy swamp with some promise. The railroad was extending itself down south, and it didn't take a genius to work out this tropical coastline was valuable. Then the constructed image began to distort what lies beneath it. At first it was pretty reasonable, supply and demand economics driven by people who wanted to live in a warmer climate. But Miami by the 1980s had created a compelling exportable image with its neon lighting and colourful
It's basically like another Dubai. You know what I'm saying?
the Miami Vice aesthetic that made its way around the
The billionaires, the ultra wealthy, they came in and they turned that shit and destroyed it, bro.
world. A glamorous appearance began to take over a more complicated reality dominated by gangs and scammers. In this respect, Miami was precisely like Dubai, a place
Right, exactly. It's like Dubai, bro.
manifested into reality through the pure power of greed and human willpower. You end up with a simulation of a real place with imported palm trees, sand, broken buildings that cost millions but are vapid, lacking substance, not underpinned by anything real or honest, where the people and population becomes fake, superficial and materialistic. The French philosopher Baudrillard called this the simulacra, which was inspired directly by America. The US makes the simulacrum inevitable as it has little ancient human history, or in Miami's case, zero history spanning back longer than about 75 years. That's plagued the city over time, and the local government knows it. Around 2020,
And they do nothing.
the former mayor Francis Suarez tried to reboot the city's image. He
Okay, well, at least he tried.
launched a cryptocurrency called Miami Coin,
Oh, God. Oh, fucking God, dude. Here we go.
which lost 95% of its value almost immediately in what turned out to be a pretty absurd stunt for making the city look financially cleaner.
Right. Come on. Come on.
He and the mayors kept using phrases like business-friendly regulatory environment.
Nah.
What that means is, first off, Florida charges zero state income tax, so a $50 million earner moving down from New York saves around $5 million a year just on that line. Then there's the homestead exemption, which means once you buy a house and live in it, no creditor can ever touch it. This is why O.J. Simpson moved to Florida the moment he lost his civil case. There's no estate tax either, and amazing trust laws that let you lock up wealth for 360 years,
Damn.
and a state financial
Damn.
regulator that's known for turning a blind eye. On top of all of that, recent mayors added a fintech regulatory sandbox that lets crypto firms operate without the usual licenses, as well as reforms that make it harder to sue Florida's businesses. And that's why you see offices from the likes of Citadel, one of the biggest hedge funds on the planet, and Blackstone, who are buying up properties
We dead ass right now, bruh.
all across the world, as well as Goldman Sachs, Starwood, and so many others.
Right.
Sam Bankman-Fried's platform FTX opened up an office here before it imploded, and he was sentenced to 25 years and ordered to forfeit an astonishing $11 billion. The very factors
poor
that
him.
made Miami a destination for cartel money are now being marketed to Fortune 500 companies as the top reason to relocate. As the wealth concentration snowballs, the gap between the richest and the poorest has widened to a gaping chasm, even by American standards. The bottom 20% of workers in Miami earn an average of about $10,000 a year. The top 5% earn over $500,000.
That's crazy. How do you live off that, bro? 10,000 a year?
Median net worth for white families in the city is around $107,000. For American-born black families, it's $3,700.
Of course, I'm not surprised. Come on. But it's not even just in Florida where this is happening, to be honest. It's happening across the entire country. Like, they're literally creating a K-shaped economy, or they have created a K-shaped economy, and they're making it so that you're either rich or you're poor. And if you're rich, you're getting richer, and if you're poor, you're getting poor. And, you know, it's sad. It sucks. It sucks that it's like that, but, I mean...
Nearly 1 in 5 people in Miami live below the poverty line. And over the years, thousands of residents were relocated to make room for a highway interchange. And the poorest parts of the city were displaced into the hills away from the glamorous seafront. We visited one
and they probably work in the big city. It's like Dubai. It's literally like Dubai.
called Overtown, right next to downtown in Brickell. And most who visit Miami for a holiday have never even heard of it. It used to attract some of the biggest names on the jazz and soul circuit, hosting iconic gigs by James Brown, Ella Fitzgerald, and Ray Charles. Today, right next to the fancy Brickell and downtown area, it has some of the highest violent crime rates in the entire state.
Also developing here at noon, a woman in the hospital. She was stabbed several times.
It happened last night in Miami's Overtown neighborhood.
Man is fighting to stay alive in the hospital after a shooting in the Overtown neighborhood of Miami.
Man is fighting to stay alive in the hospital after a shooting in the Overtown neighborhood of Miami.
A third and final boy taken into custody, charged as an adult for his alleged role in the rape of a 12-year-old girl in an Overtown community garden last June.
We literally tried to film there and got threatened and had to leave.
Damn.
Doing like, because we're from Europe, we're just filming Miami.
Nah, not over here. Alright, yeah, we'll get out of here. Alright.
Damn, bruh.
Another of Miami's most notorious districts is Liberty City. People often assume Liberty City from GTA is based on it, but that's purely a coincidence. While Liberty City has
a lot of the cities in GTA are inspired by real life cities.
cleaned itself up over recent years, it's a former drug trafficking hotspot and its violent crime rate remains more than double the national average. An OG former shot caller who grew up during the cartel era and served 21 years in prison described what this world looked like from the inside.
I'm born into the game out of violence. That's the first language in Miami, violence.
And mind you, like these like little areas like Overtown and like Liberty, it's all by design. You know what I'm saying? It's all by design. They, you know what I mean? It's so sad because it's like a lot of this stuff is like, I mean, just think about it. Like white people in these areas, they make way more money compared to black people. You know what I'm saying? Compared to minorities. It's like they're being targeted. You know what I'm saying? And like when you live in a low income area, you're more likely going to commit crimes based on the environment. You know what I'm saying? Because people are more desperate. And so they have no choice but to join these gangs and to join these cartels. And it's all created to keep people, not just in that area, but just people across the country arguing and with each other and dividing and spreading, you know what I'm saying, hate towards each other. And it creates a system to where, you know, it prevents people from banding together and attacking the people who are controlling the system, which is the ultra wealthy, the billionaires, and all that shit, bro.
If Miami homicide saw that it was over some drugs, they would say, just chalk it up.
Let's
let's move on.
Part of the war, because it was going on so much,
people dying every day.
Miami's intense wealth segregation, with the rich on the seafront and the poor in the inner city, might actually
Right.
one day be an ironic twist of fate. Because
Of course.
the city itself sits on a gigantic base of porous limestone, meaning the ground beneath it works like a sponge. You can't build a seawall against it because the water percolates through the rock itself. In Miami, sea levels have risen about 6 inches in places since 2000, and the city's average elevation is 6 feet. There's a time of year called king tide when the tides are at their highest and water spills through the streets. It's not really what you envision when you think of Miami. The inland neighborhoods on the higher ground that don't flood are where the poor were pushed to by decades of development. But now that the expensive parts of the city are starting to quite literally go under, the high ground is suddenly very valuable. So they're doing everything they can to buy it. And eventually it'll just be another wave after wave of gentrification like Miami has already seen in places like Wynwood, a place that was once the ghetto like Overtown just a few years ago. That has been
they buy out all the homes and they push people and they group people. Yep. You know what I mean? It's basically like the ultra wealthy, they're just buying out everything. You know what I'm saying?
become yet another place for
Destroying the area because billionaires and all these corporations, they destroy fucking everything. They destroy the climate. They destroy everything. They destroy the economy. They destroy everything for their own gain because they are selfish, they are greedy, and they are pieces of shit. It is just that simple.
Overpriced coffees.
And they view all the, you know, it's like these politicians, these billionaires, they work together. Like, let's keep it a being, from both sides of the political aisle, they work together. And they view us all as subhuman and second class. They don't give a fuck about your race. They don't give a fuck about your gender. They don't give a fuck about your religion. They use that as a tool to divide people, to keep people from uniting together and attacking the ultra wealthy. You know what I'm saying?
The risk here really is imminent, and yet nobody wants to talk about it. In June 2021, a 12-story beachfront condo in Surfside, a suburb just north of Miami Beach, collapsed in the middle of the night and killed 98 people. Investigations found the building had been structurally deteriorating for years while maintenance was repeatedly deferred. Since then, Florida's homeowner insurance costs have roughly tripled to an average of $6,000 a year, more than 3 times the national average, and insurers have started pulling out of the state altogether. But the construction never slows down. There are cranes all over the downtown area, and almost all of them are being operated by people who live in the neighborhoods we just walked through, miles
Damn.
inland from the buildings they're putting up. At over 60%, the majority of the construction workforce here was born outside the US, by far the highest percentage of any metropolitan area in the US, and meeting demand amid the influx of millionaires from around the world is grueling work. The local newspaper, the Miami Herald, spoke to a group of them about working conditions last year. A 64-year-old Colombian painter described spending 20 years on scaffolding in dangerous heat without a harness, where he'd actually lost 2 colleagues to fatal falls. Workers then described routine wage theft, with contractors owing them thousands and simply refusing to pay. And Florida doesn't
Because they can get away with it.
have a state agency to handle this.
Wage theft costs.
And it's by design. They do it on purpose. Like, the reason why they can't attack these companies that fuck them over is because they know nothing is going to stop them. Nothing is going to stop them. They know that.
Americans more than any other type of theft.
Because Florida has no state agency handling unpaid wages.
And it's all by design. Of course it has no state agency handler, because if they do that, you know.
You can
Right,
fight your
like-
case in civil court.
So if you're owed money, your only option is to take your employer to court yourself.
My family here was affected. My family back in Guatemala was affected, and they would ask why I
It shouldn't be like this either. It should not be like this,
couldn't
bro.
send
Where are the unions at? They're all gone. I bet you. Fuck.
money.
God damn.
And why at the time we couldn't make ends meet. He's laughing in the face of authority. He's laughing in the face of law.
It is in many respects the US equivalent
Because in his mind, there's nothing that can stop him.
of the Dubai employment model, with one
It's-
redeeming
it's
caveat
literally
that
Dubai.
In Miami, you can technically leave your job and nobody confiscates your passport at least. But being an undocumented migrant means you can't complain without risking deportation. And every contractor in this city knows that.
Yep.
So the end result of indentured servitude is pretty consistent. We noticed how the city has adapted to its large migrant population, given that even adverts are completely in Spanish with no English translation. When it's time to walk away from Miami, you leave with an image of a gleaming city built on imported labor, where people live in conditions visitors will never see, marketed as the future and sinking into the ground while everyone pretends that day will never come. And that's the very thing about Miami that makes it different from anywhere else. It's not fair to say that it's failing. It's seemingly very clean, very safe, and well organized. It's not completely falling apart at the seams like places like Los Angeles. And it's not really a stereotypical dystopian vision. It bucks the trend of what we might imagine one
It's
to
like
be.
yeah,
It's a
like
vision
luxury,
slowly
yeah,
sneaking up
yeah.
on us. It's a vision of intoxicating excess that cannot be sustained. There's no rubble, no air raid sirens, no brutal executions in broad daylight. Miami's version is just softer, wrapped in sunshine and palm trees, and a very convincing pitch that this is what winning looks like. And that pitch is spreading. Every major American city is trying to become like this right now. They're offering tax incentives and asking AI companies to come in and build massive data centers.
Yup.
Next to people.
This is only going to end one way, because when the average American, which is already happening, but most Americans, when we all feel this shit and this shit's affecting us, oh, niggas are going to revolt. You will have no choice but to revolt, bro.
Houses. They're deregulating to pump more and more money into local economies, but it ultimately lines the pockets of a few. Cities all
Yep.
over the world are destroying them.
Them damn billionaires, they fucking ruin everything. That's really what it is, bro. That's literally what it is, bro. And eventually it will backfire, because when you back people into a corner, they revolt. You know what I'm saying? Or these billionaires and these ultra wealthy ass niggas, they destroy themselves. That's literally they destroy themselves. And so, yeah, man, I hope you have a good breakfast, a good dinner, good night, man, bruh. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I love y'all, man, bruh. Peace.